Welcome back, tribe. Well, I got an episode here from Real Talk Thailand. He says, I'll never marry a Thai woman. Here is why.
That'll probably piss off half the expat community in Thailand, but someone needs to say it. I will never marry a Thai woman. Not because I hate Thai women, not because I think they're all gold diggers, and definitely not because I can't get one. I've been proposed to 3 times by women who genuinely loved me, women who would have made decent wives by most standards. But
this one's going to be good. He's going to get into some real truth. Let's hear it.
I said no every time.
I love it.
And after 7 years in Thailand, watching hundreds of foreign men get married here, I'm more convinced than ever that I made the right choice. Today, I'm going to tell you exactly why. And if you're thinking about marriage here, you need to hear this before you make a decision you can't undo, because what I'm about to share isn't theory, pattern recognition from living this life and watching what actually happens when the honeymoon phase ends. Let me start with something nobody wants to admit. When you marry a Thai woman, you're not just marrying her. You're marrying her entire extended family's financial problems. I learned this the hard way with my second girlfriend, Nim. Beautiful girl, genuinely sweet, loved me for real, not just my wallet. 6 months in, her father got sick. Nothing serious, but he needed treatment. 15,000 baht. I paid it without thinking twice because I cared about her. 2 months later, her sister's motorcycle broke down. She needed it for work. 8,000 baht. Again, I helped. Then her grandmother's house needed repairs before rainy season. 25,000 baht. Then her cousin needed help with university fees. 12,000 baht. I'm sitting there adding it up one day, and I realized I'd become the family ATM without even noticing. Not because Nim was scheming. She genuinely felt terrible asking every time. But because in Thai culture, if you have money and family needs help, you help, period. And here's the kicker. This wasn't even unusual financial pressure. This was just normal Thai family life. Imagine what happens when there's a real crisis, like someone needs surgery or the rice farm fails. Now, multiply that expectation over 20, 30, 40 years of marriage, every family emergency, every business opportunity, every cousin's wedding, every grandparent's medical bill. It all becomes your responsibility. Most foreign guys aren't mentally or financially prepared for that level of obligation, and the resentment builds on both sides.
And unfortunately, they go there leading with their wallet because they're starving out here in the West. They're not getting laid. Hardly any men are unless you're in the top 20%. And when they finally go and get a nice little beautiful girl like this, and she's like everything you ever dreamed of, perfect wifey, all that stuff, and then family needs something, the sunk cost fallacy, that I can't lose the time I've invested here. I finally have a woman. So they'll, swallow their pride and actually pay for everything. And then you get videos like this. I love this video because it's telling you the truth about dating in Southeast Asia. This isn't just Thailand problem. It's a Philippines problem as well. East Asians are a bit colder in the sense of like, you won't need to foot the bill for absolutely everything because they have money, but it's very transactional in nature. The thing that I've spoken to a lot of men that are in these kinds of relationships, the thing they hate the most is very transactional. What you do for a living, the prestige of your job matters, how much money you're earning, the assets you have. It's not a joke. Like those are the things the families look for and actively judge you on. And the nosiness, the influence that the parents, the family have in your relationship, for most guys, Western guys, it's an absolute deal breaker, but they're in too deep and they don't want to let go of their woman. So they tolerate so much until, it blows up in their face. I'm so glad that I didn't go through that route. I saw what it was like before, spoke to plenty of men before I even decided where to go. And for me, the Balkans, Eastern Europe, the perfect mix of everything. Beautiful women. They're tall, gorgeous, good genes. Culture's nice, good balance of family matters, but also a bit of independence. And it's not too overbearing. Like I never have to worry about what the extended family thinks about the relationship or having, that poisonous ear, that whisper of them telling your woman shit or me getting told shit. No, it's just like, I hope you guys are, healthy. Do you need anyone? Like our families ask us if we need any help with anything, and they'll give you even the shirt off their back. And it's a huge departure from, if you have money, you're expected to just give it to everybody. And then that's a true part of this that people don't discuss. Like you're marrying into the family and all their problems. That's too much for a lot of guys.
When reality hits, here's something else nobody talks about. The language barrier doesn't just affect small talk. It affects the deepest parts of your relationship. I speak decent Thai, not fluent, but conversational. And even with that, I constantly felt like I was missing emotional nuances that only native speakers would catch. Thai is a high context language. So much communication happens between the lines, through tone, through what's not said. When you're arguing about something important, money, family, future plans, and you're both speaking your second language, you're not really understanding each other. I remember having a fight with Ploy, my third girlfriend, about her wanting to buy a car. In English, she said she needed it for work, but I could tell from her Thai friends' reactions that the word she used in Thai carried a different weight, more like strongly desired than required. These mistranslations happen constantly, and over years of marriage, they compound. You think you're having one conversation, she thinks you're having another, and both of you get frustrated because the other person doesn't understand. I watched my neighbor, Dave, struggle with this for 3 years before his marriage fell apart. They loved each other, but they could never quite connect on the deeper emotional level because the language barrier created this permanent layer of separation. And don't get me started on trying to explain Western concepts like personal space or independence to someone whose entire worldview is built around interdependence and collective responsibility. But the real killer isn't money or language, it's expectations. Most Thai women who marry foreigners have a very specific vision of what that life will look like. And most foreign men have a completely different vision. She's thinking stability, security, taking care of family, building something together in Thailand, maybe having kids who grow up bilingual and bicultural. He's thinking adventure, youth, escape from Western relationship drama, someone who appreciates him, maybe traveling the world together. These aren't necessarily incompatible, but they require serious discussion and compromise. And most couples don't have those conversations until it's too late. I know, because I've had this conversation with dozens of married expats. The pattern is always the same. Year 1, everything's amazing. Cultural differences seem charming. Year 3 to 4, reality sets in. The differences start causing friction. Year 5 plus, either they've figured out how to bridge the gap or they're stuck in a marriage that satisfies neither person. The successful ones, and there are some, put in enormous effort to understand each other's worlds. They learn each other's languages fluently. They spend time with both families. They have long, difficult conversations about money, children, career goals, and what success means to each of them. But honestly, most don't do this work. They just hope love will be enough. And love is never enough when your fundamental assumptions about life are different. Here's something really
True.
dark that nobody warns you about. Once you're married, you're trapped in ways you didn't expect. If you're married to a Thai woman and living in Thailand, leaving becomes incredibly complicated, not just emotionally, legally, and financially. Your visa status is tied to your marriage. Your assets might be in her name because of foreign ownership laws. Your social circle is probably mostly her friends and family. If the marriage goes bad, you can't just pack up and leave like you could when you were single. You're financially entangled, legally complicated, and socially isolated from other options. I've seen guys stay in dead marriages for years because
Jeez.
untangling everything seemed impossible.
Sunk
And I've seen
cost.
guys lose everything, house, business, savings, in divorce proceedings because they never understood how Thai family law actually works. When you're single, you have complete freedom to change your situation if it's not working. When you're married, especially in a foreign country, that freedom disappears. And most guys don't realize how much they valued that freedom until it's gone. Let me tell you what I've observed about foreign men before and after marriage in Thailand. Before marriage, confident, social, pursuing hobbies and friendships, growing as a person, genuinely happy. After marriage, increasingly isolated from other expats, spending most social time with Thai family members they can barely communicate with, stressed about money,
That
and
sounds like hell.
gradually losing the sense of adventure that brought them to Thailand in the first place. It's not universal, but it's common enough to be a pattern. Marriage changes the power dynamic. When you're dating, you're both choosing each other every day. When you're married, there's an assumption of permanence that can make people stop trying as hard. And in Thai culture, marriage comes with very specific role expectations. The husband provides, the wife manages the household and family relationships. If you're not comfortable with traditional gender roles, this can create constant tension. I've seen foreign guys who are perfectly happy with independent, career-focused Thai girlfriends suddenly find themselves married to women who expect to quit their jobs and focus on family. And I've seen Thai women frustrated with foreign husbands who don't understand their obligations to extended family. The relationship that worked when you were dating can become completely different once you're married. And
Yeah, you have to set expectations clearly. And communication is big, especially if the languages are second for each person. Like, you don't speak Thai, she doesn't really speak English that well. So then you have to come together in a secondary language and communicate. And it has to be crystal clear. Vetting matters. I can't believe it, but I've talked to a bunch of men that say they've met a woman online and then they'll go overseas, bro, to fucking first time ever meeting in the flesh. And then they're like, absolutely, oh my God, she's like perfect. We've been FaceTiming and she's the sweetest girl. Because it's so fucking toxic dating in the West, dude. If you even can date as a normal dude, even like I have a guy that's killing it. He's my buddy, really good friends, like a brother to me. He crushes it. He's crushed it. 6'4", built like a fucking Greek god, shredded, matches up the wazoo, all garbage, and not garbage as in like they look good, absolute dime pieces. The dude's crushing. He's in the top 1%. His life is amazing, but the women, none of them are marriage material. Trash. Besides looking absolutely gorgeous, slaying and crushing it, not a single one you would put a ring on. Not one, dude, is even anywhere close. Hardly any relationship material. Forget wife. Hardly any relationship material. All absolute 1,000 cock stare. Busted. Completely pumped and dumped. Bicycles from the neighborhood. Everybody got a ride. So when you come from this environment and you go into this one and you meet what seems like like your dream woman, she's like everything you've been looking for. Of course, you're going to bust open the wallet. Of course, you're going to forget your principles. Of course, everything you've ever learned on this channel, all the guys forget. These guys go overseas, bro, never even meeting the woman in person, FaceTime, and they fall in love and like, we're going to get married 6 months later. Everything, I'm going to plan to move there. I'm like, you don't even know this fucking person. You haven't even spent a year together. You haven't met their families yet. You haven't even seen the mask come out. Have you seen them in a stressed environment? Have you seen them when shit isn't rainbows and sunshine? A lot of guys can't say that. And then they get married to these women, and this is exactly what this dude is talking about. So expectations were shit. The guys got blinded by getting a piece of puss. Dude, they haven't had any decent kitty for the longest time in the United States. You go overseas, and it's like, holy shit, I'm in Candyland. Psych. You got used, bro. You led with your wallet and you had very little experience with women. And she basically sweet talked you into a relationship that you thought would be absolutely perfect for eternity. But once you settle in the normal and you get to see what life's really like and the mask comes off and then you get a brutal wake up. But too late, you're married. Too late, your business, everything, all your ties are all deeply rooted in being married to that woman. Guys need to be careful, dude. Like the passport thing, it works. Going overseas, it works. You will have a much better shot at having a successful life where you're the head of household, married to a great woman. But also on the other end of that, a bunch of like absolute bozos have gone overseas, like simps go overseas and they get destroyed the same way they would in the West. Like nothing changed. You're a simp here, you're a simp there, right? You have to fix your simping ways first before you go overseas or you're just going to get played. And then now that the droves, the massive amounts of simps that have gone overseas and have gotten a piece of puss, but then got absolutely wrecked by it, will now say, I've been overseas. It's not like everybody says, they're all the same everywhere. No, you're the same simp. That's the problem. A simp gets taken advantage of no matter where you go. It's, yeah, it's brutal though, bro. There's no escaping you being a simp until you fix that part. All women will be toxic to you.
By then, it's much harder to change course. Now, I'm not saying Thai foreign marriages never work. I know couples who've been happily married for 10, 15, even 20 years. But look at what they had to do to make it work. Tom and Ratana. He spent 2 years becoming fluent in Thai before proposing. She spent a year living in Australia to understand Western culture. They dated for 4 years, lived together for 2, and had multiple conversations with both families about expectations before getting married.
Correct
Jim
way to
and
do it.
Siriporn. They started a business together before marriage so they could see how they handled money and stress as a team. They agreed on a specific budget for family support and stuck to it. They alternate years between Thailand and Canada so she can maintain her career and he can stay connected to his culture. Mark and Wari. They went to couples counseling in both languages to make sure they could communicate about difficult topics. They wrote out their expectations for marriage, children, money, and family obligations before the wedding. These couples didn't just fall in love and hope for the best. They treated marriage like a business partnership and did the hard work to make sure they were compatible on every level. But most people don't do this. They get caught up in the romance and assume love will solve problems that
Yep.
love can't actually solve.
Disney
So why
mentality.
don't I get married? Simple. I found something better. I have deep, meaningful relationships with Thai women without the legal, financial, and cultural complications
I'm
that come
pumping
with
and dumping.
marriage. I can support my girlfriend's family when I choose to, not because I'm obligated to. I can leave if the relationship becomes unhealthy, and so can.
I'm pumping and dumping with no strings attached, bro. If she's not giving out kitty or asking too much, I'm walking away. That's really what it is, man. Just tell them the truth. Yeah, I like having girlfriends instead of a wife because I don't like to feel trapped. So, but he crushed it. Great video. It's the truth. And he has a video called Before You Get a Special Massage in Thailand. Watch this. Let's put that in the watch later. We'll get to that one next. See what some of the comments say. Been together 13 years, married 3 years with a Thai wife, lived in Thailand 7, now living in Norway. Solid advice. I followed advice from a German guy I met in Koh Chang. If you want a girlfriend wife from Thailand, make sure her family doesn't need you. Oof. So I did. Family's very wealthy, and they never asked me for anything. There you go. This is not Thai girl marrying advice. This is universal marrying advice. Yeah, I would say so. I married a Thai girl, but we live in Australia. I used to send a little money to help her parents out every month until they died. After that, I stopped paying. My wife got a job eventually, and now I'm retired and she supports. Life is swings and roundabouts. Marrying her was the best thing I ever done. There you go. Thai wife, married for 16 years. My Thai family never asked for money from my American husband. My Thai family actually helps us financially, or helped us once. There you go. Married to a Filipino for 30 years, I could attest to the fact that those cultural differences never go away or get resolved. It gets so frustrating going through the same discussions over and over again. The culture differences matter, dude. That's why I went to the Balkans because, Romanian by birth and grew up in a Balkan household. And for me, these cultural differences were cultural norms. I didn't have to adjust to anything. For me, it was all the same. And her integration into my family and vice versa was smooth. There was no friction. Now, I know if I went to Latin America, if I went to Southeast Asia, I would have huge cultural problems and differences. Language barriers, massive, right? Communicating with the families, huge hurdle, and at least enjoy the same kinds of food, right? Celebrate the same kind of holidays, maybe the same kind of religion, right? All this stuff matters. If you want your long-term relationship / marriage to work out, how much you fit with one another matters. And that's stuff that guys need to be doing a real calculation on when you go overseas. What culture do you want to insert yourself into, and how well can you without all that friction? They think like, I'll just go to Southeast Asia and I'll find a woman that loves me for me and everything will be jolly. It's like, no, bro. You suck at learning the language. It's just not catching on with you. You hate the food. You might hate the weather. You might dislike how much her family has influence in your life. All this stuff you need to be calculating before you go out to a place. I just talked to a guy and I told him, based on his life, like Argentina or Uruguay or something like that. Don't go, if you're like Latin women, but you want them to look a little more European, go over there. If you don't want to deal with danger and shit like that, avoid Colombia. If you do like Southeast Asian women, then go over there, but do your due diligence. If you want European women, you got to go over to the Balkans, right? Pick, but know what you're getting into. The guy, one of them was like struggling in Poland. Another one was struggling in Sweden. Another one said he was in Albania and he struggled there, but the struggle comes from always the same thing. Communication. Couldn't speak well. We're struggling just having small talk. Whatever country you go to, you're going to want to learn a little bit of the language, or at least go to a country that has enough English proficiency or that can bridge the gap for you. But by no means will you have the same success as the guy that can speak the country's language. Yeah, so it's a lot of nuances, dude. It's not a get out of jail free card, like your passport immediately solves all your problems. It doesn't. It just makes things far more equitable for you to succeed. Yeah. Anyways, the guy's channel will be linked in the bio as usual. Talks, discussions, opinions, comment below for the dudes that are overseas and married. How it blew up in your face or how you're succeeding. Let them know in the comments. See you guys on the next one.